Wneu Virtual Channel 60 is the Telemundo-owned and operated television station serving Boston, Massachusetts, United States that is licensed to Merrimack, New Hampshire. The station is owned and operated by the NBC Universal-owned television station subsidiary of NBC Universal. Wneu's executive offices are on Sundial Avenue in Manchester, New Hampshire. The transmitter is located in Goffstown, New Hampshire, and studio facilities on Wells Avenue in Newton, MA, along with sister channel New England Cable News. History. The station first signed on the air August 14, 1987 as WGOT, an independent station owned by Golden Triangle TV 60 Corporation. The call sign was derived from the so-called Golden Triangle region that encompasses Manchester, Nashua, and Salem, New Hampshire. Neil Cortell, who owned 50% of WGOT, had earlier owned a stake in WXPO-TV. Porgus Television bought WGOT for $1.35 million on January 13, 1989. In the early 1990s, WGOT unsuccessfully attempted to become New Hampshire's Fox affiliate. In 1991, Porgus filed an antitrust lawsuit against Fox, its Boston affiliate WFXD, and the Boston Celtics for conspiring to block WGOT from joining the network, as well as using Fox programming and WFXD's Celtics broadcasts to place Channel 60 at a disadvantage in obtaining cable carriage. Another attempt at obtaining a Fox affiliation for the station ended in November 1994, after Fox attempted to instead lure ABC affiliate WMUR-TV. Paxson Communications purchased WGOT from Porgus for $3.05 million on May 17, 1995, and switched the station to a mix of infomercials and religious programming. As an affiliate of the Infomercial TV network, Paxson referred to WGOT as Intiv's Boston affiliate. However, the Channel 60 signal did not reach the city. To solve this, Paxson bought RAP LP in Gloucester from Electron Communications on October 31, 1996, moved the station to Channel 54 in Boston under the call letters W54CN, and brought it to the air that November as a translator of WGOT. In December 2000, W54CN moved to Channel 40 as W4OBO. WGOT changed its call sign to WPXB on January 20, 1998, and subsequently became a charter-owned and operated station of Pax TV when it launched on August 31, 1998. WPXB split the Boston affiliation for the network with WBPX in Norwell. However, the station dropped Pax programming in June 1999 after DP Media took over WABU and made it Boston's new Pax station. WABU operated a satellite in New Hampshire, WNBU in Concord. WPXB then returned to an infomercial format. On November 1, 2000, the station switched to Value Vision, which later became Shop NBC. In September 2002, NBC agreed to acquire WPXB from Paxson for $26 million, with the intention of making Channel 60 an owned and operated station of its Telemundo network. Paxson, which was in the process of selling some of its stations in order to raise $100 million, had originally planned to sell WPXB to another company, but NBC had a right of first refusal on Paxson stations in the 50 largest markets, which it had obtained when it acquired a 32% stake in Paxson in 1999. NBC completed its purchase of WPXB on October 29, 2002. 2 days later, the call letters were changed to WNEU. translator station W4OBO was not included in the sale. Paxson eventually made Channel 40 a translator of WBPX. Channel 60 continued to air Shop NBC programming until April 2003, while Value Vision Media was in the process of acquiring WWDP to move Shop NBC there. WNEU switched to Telemundo that month. Concurrently with the station joining Telemundo, WNEU entered into a joint sales and time brokerage agreement with ZGS Communications, owner of existing Telemundo affiliate WTMULP. During this time, WNEU effectively served as a full-power satellite of WTMULP, even though Channel 60 was promoted as the main station. The local marketing agreement with ZGS expired in April 2014. At the time, NBC Universal retook full control of WNEU and placed the station in its Telemundo station group. Possible switch to NBC. It was reported in August 2015 that NBC Universal was considering the possibility of purchasing current NBC affiliate WHDH, whose affiliation will expire at the end of 2016. NBC Universal and WHDH owner Sunbeam Television have denied these rumors. Sunbeam's executive vice president and former WHDH general manager Chris Whalen stated that the company that it would renew WHDH's affiliation. In October 2015, the Boston Globe reported that NBC had considered moving the affiliation to its cable channel and ECN rather than to an over-the-air channel, although the company declined to comment. On December 15, 2015, New England One reported, citing internal sources, that NBC Universal had declined to renew its affiliation with WHDH, and was in the process of preparing WNEU to become an NBCO and AMPO by hiring staff for an English-language news operation, including former WHDH meteorologist Pete Bouchard. The Boston Herald reported 2 days later that the station would prospectively be known as NBC Boston, and that WNEU's existing Telemundo programming could be moved to a different sub-channel. Following the reports, Paul Magnus, WHDH's vice president and general manager, told the Herald that the station still expected its NBC affiliation to be renewed, while NBC Universal again declined to comment. Moving NBC to WNEU would affect the over-the-air availability of the network. WNEU's transmitter is located in Merrimack, New Hampshire, which is northwest of WHDH's transmitter location of Boston. Sunbeam estimated that WNEU served 4 million fewer residents than WHDH's signal, which covers a radius directly around Boston. WNEU's signal only has overlap with the northwest portion of WHDH's signal. Sunbeam's owner, Edinson, told the Globe that no network has elected to give up such a strong station and go to a start-up station, after having disclosed that he had rejected a $200 million offer to sell WHDH to NBC in September 2015, leading the network to threaten to shift its programming to WNEU. However, he still predicted that NBC would remain on Channel 7. On January 7, 2016, Valerie Staub, president of NBC-owned television stations, confirmed that NBC had declined to renew its affiliation with WHDH beyond the end of 2016, and would launch NBC Boston on January 1, 2017. Staub explained that with NBC's recent investments into the studio facilities of NECN and WNEU, "We have built a very strong news organization in the Boston market, both from a personnel and facilities perspective, which puts us in a great position to launch an NBC-owned station locally. The station will be led by NBCN on Telemundo." Boston's general manager Mike Street, Peter Staub, did not outright confirm whether WNEU will carry NBC programming, but iterated that the network will remain available over the air following the transition, and that NBC Universal was committed to expanding our over-the-air coverage of the market and are currently looking at a variety of options to accomplish that. On March 10, 2016, Sunbeam Television sued Comcast in the District Court for the District of Massachusetts, arguing that moving NBC to WNEU would violate antitrust law by strengthening its near-monopoly position in the market, and FCC conditions on Comcast's acquisition of NBC, as the company had agreed not to reduce over-the-air coverage of NBC, nor use its cable holdings to influence affiliation negotiations. On May 16, 2016, the lawsuit was thrown out, with the judge arguing that the possible loss of OTA coverage was not concern that WHDH has standing to redress, and that, absent any actionable harm attributable to Comcast, it is simply an enduring consequence of doing business in a competitive and unsentimental marketplace. On May 18, 2016, the Boston Herald reported that NBC Universal was considering acquiring ION television station WBPX-TV. The ION Media Network's owned station covers a similar coverage area to WHDH, lessening the impact of a potential switch. On June 13, 2016, the Herald also suggested that NBC could purchase a trade for Fox station WFXT-TV to use as its O&AMPO instead, believing that Cox Media Group would be interested in divesting the station due to its declining viewership. WFXT's general manager, WHDH's general manager, and NBC denied that any of these ideas were being considered. Digital television. Digital channels. The station's digital channel is multiplexed, analog to digital conversion. WNEU shut down its analog signal over UHF channel 60 on June 12, 2009, the official date in which full-power television stations in the United States transitioned from analog to digital broadcasts under federal mandate. The station's digital signal remained on its pre-transition UHF channel 34. Through the use of PSIP, digital television receivers display the station's virtual channel as its former UHF analog channel 60, which was among the high-band UHF channels that were removed from broadcasting use as a result of the transition. Newscasts. In the early 1990s, WGOT aired a New Hampshire-oriented primetime newscast at 10 o'clock p.m. that was anchored by current NHDOT spokesperson Bill Boynton. The newscast, which started in August 1991, was discontinued in June 1994. The cancellation was due to insufficient profits, as well as limited interest in a New Hampshire newscast from northern Massachusetts viewers that received the station on cable. WGOT would continue to air news briefs and news specials until the sale to Paxson Communications. On June 11, 2015, NBC Universal announced that it would launch early evening and late newscasts for WNEU. The news operation shares resources with sister channel New England Cable News and operates out of NECN's studios in Newton, Massachusetts. WNEU's newscasts include a live 11 p.m. newscast. Competitor WUNI also airs a newscast at that time, but it is a rebroadcast of that station's 6 p.m. newscast. The newscasts launched on August 17, 2015.